Hi everyone, I'm Ruchika Bindra, and today we are talking about millennials and the world of startup businesses on the other side of the break. Welcome to No Filter, everyone. Hello, Toronto, York Region, Peel, the entire GTA that is watching #NoFilter. I am so excited to have you all with us today. We are talking about the world of millennial and startup businesses. Joining me later on the show will be a successful startup business. Dalton Jackson from the Soul Exchange will be joining us. With me today, my fabulous team panelists, we have Roxanne, Kwaku, and Shingo. Hello.
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 We also have our social media guru, Cassandra. Hi, Cassandra. So feel free to tweet us during the show. We will be taking out some time to look at your tweets and answer you at Rodgers TV. Please do tweet us, and you can also hashtag at Rodgers No Filter as well. So guys, when we talk about millennials and there's this huge talk and this evolution about startup businesses being more popular now than they ever were before. When I say something like that, what is the first thing that comes to your mind as you guys are kind of experiencing the change that's going on?
Money, probably, because
Okay.
there's everything drives around money. Without it, you can't go far without it, you know? So if it's important to have, and especially for people our age, it's very hard to procure some because we have universities to pay for. There's so many, and it's hard to get a job too without any experience.
So are you trying to say that startups help you get into the industry to make financial means for yourself, or are you saying that they are something that's actually hindering your financial growth?
Probably like a little of both, because you need money to start, but you also, by starting the business, whatever it is, you're gonna make money out of it. So I say like you just need to like something to start of.
Like a platform.
Yeah.
So why do you think more millennials are going for startups versus, you know, the typical way we've seen before? You graduate, you know, you volunteer, you do an internship, and then you kind of apply for a job at a big corporation. Why are more and more of them, not just in Canada, the stats are also in the States, in Europe especially, why are they moving more towards this sort of model of financial earning?
I feel like sort of because we have the internet and the social media and just a whole bunch of technology at our disposal these days, and you could just order a 3D printer like from anywhere per se. So this sort of mentality of you have everything at your fingertips, why don't you try and do it, is sort of I feel like our generation sort of mindset to things, right? So if per se like you have this great creative idea and you're like, well, I don't know where I have to start. Well, I'll try to just Google it and see where I get from there. And you've got already at your fingertips like experienced people, and if you can get in touch with them, then congratulations, you've just probably got yourself a grand start. So I feel like that's the sort of the mentality of us. It's like, as well, the internet and technology being so profound and innovative these days. It's really, it's easy to get a step up, but again, with her, I think the financial troubles really sort of jumble it up a lot, because nowadays you need a good reputation to start something good. Like I feel like that, like banks, and they won't loan you the money unless you already have a good credit, or you have some sort of good history and you don't have any job experience, or you don't have anything before that, then they might not give it to you.
But the credit and the financial aspect is one thing. How come then stats are showing that more and more individuals are willing to take that risk? Because obviously I don't think anybody would start a startup if they didn't have the finance or the credit, right? So if we put that aspect aside, that anything, any initiative, any project you start will involve some sort of an investment. So that being set aside, why are we seeing more and more people opting for this versus, you know, just graduating and doing it themselves? Like I was speaking to a teenager today on the train commuting in, and he said to me, he just turned 19, and he said that my goal as soon as I graduate in the next 6 months from IT and technology is to develop my own app and to get out there and do it myself versus taking my time and my energy and putting it towards a corporation for someone else.
I see a lot of people with the whole startup being more comfortable with that idea because job security is being threatened.
Right.
Especially in our day and age where young people are going to university, graduating with master's degrees, bachelor's degrees, and finding them stuck at a job that they aren't making that much money. However, they've seen that one guy that created that app, created Uber, made millions of dollars on it. So they're like, if I have these resources, if social media can brand myself, I don't need these gatekeepers.
Yep.
Why don't I use these resources, my best advantage, and make these companies? Why don't I think outside of the box? But other things come into question, such as privilege,
Right.
money. How do you actually start these startups? Do you have to go through funders and all that kind of stuff, business plans?
What are the actual processes,
Exactly.
right? And I think you make a really good point. It appears very easy as well, right? Like as you graduate, you're like, okay, I want to launch my own app or I want to start my own business. But sometimes we fail to realize that as easy and as great as it is that we have so much education and so many tools available to us, the challenge is sometimes lack of experience. You know, some people would say you should go out and get a job, maybe even a mediocre job, but at least get in the industry, get into the habit of having a work ethic, you know, knowing what it's like to work, knowing what it's like to have a model structure of business, and then go and build your startup, because you can kind of take the pros and cons. And then we have a certain group of millennials that are like, no, we don't need to have structure. We will form our structure by actually creating a startup that we like. And, you know, similarly with Uber, it's crazy how one simple idea has literally revolutionized like the way we commute, the way people travel. It has changed jobs for actual, you know, local taxis that run these businesses. Breads and butters of people's have literally changed. So I think it goes down to a very important fact that you said. Sometimes it also appears much easier than it is till we actually get down to the logistics and the technicalities of it. Have you guys are all, I'm assuming, studying in your own fields. Have you guys ever considered this idea of wanting to start up something of your own, or are you guys more comfortable still with the idea of joining a institution?
It's appealing really to start our own business because there's so many resources with technology and internet. It's easy to just research and then start something new. All you need is an idea, bottom line. So yeah, it sounds appealing, especially to crown ourselves CEO of a company that might go successful a lot.
Yeah.
So, but you know, in the end, there's a lot of other stuff going into play that can go into your way. Some people are ready to face them, others are not. So it depends on the person.
Depends on, I guess, the challenge you're willing to take and how much you're willing to put at stake,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Gentlemen, what is your view on this?
Personally, I could see why it's so appealing to some people, right? Again, you could have your own corporate business card saying, "I'm the CEO of my own company. Hire me. I know what exactly to do." Like that sounds great and all, but to me personally, like growing up in sort of like a more so like let's say a limited, no, not limited in any way, but
Conventional.
Like conventional. Yes, my father is an accountant, and as well seeing like the job markets change and sort of. It's nowadays I'm hearing a lot about like jobs being more contract work more than anything. You know, you're on for 3 years and you're off for 3 years and sort of unsecure. Like, but otherwise, starting up a whole business is. It has its own risks as well. Of course, it's appealing, and of course, you could sort of.
I like your idea. On the other side of the break, we are going to talk more about this idea of the challenges that you can experience. Stay tuned on the other side of #NoFilter. Welcome back, #NoFilter viewers. On the other side of the break, we were talking about millennial startup careers and some of the challenges and the more glossy aspect that it can give. We just received a tweet, so I'm going to check in with our social media guru, Cassandra. Hello.
Hi.
So tell me, what are people tweeting?
So we got a tweet in from Trey, and he said, how important is social media in a small business? And what are the best platforms? I think this is a really important question, considering as a millennial starting your own business, the most important thing would be to market it and really get the word out to people. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think is the most important platform to be marketing your business on?
Guys?
Social media these days, everyone is on social media. Social media is a way to communicate with other people and get yourself out there. So for businesses, without any people giving you money, like helping you with it, it's gonna go nowhere, right? So social media is a great way to give
It's
yourself
basically free marketing,
publicity
essentially, right?
and yeah.
And I know, like, if you have a good rep on social media and you have all these followers and you have these subscribers, like, that gives you even a greater reputation, and that gives you, like, a greater, like, higher stance, right? Like, there are even a few websites that offer these sort of fake followers and fake subscribers that make you look better and even more elaborate. So that's another part as well.
Although social media is also a great way to ruin our reputation, because one bad photo, one bad thing gets out there, it
One
can
bad
ruin,
review about your
it
business
can
or an
ruin your entire
experience. Yeah.
career. You know?
If we want to look at this topic from a business standpoint, I mean, social media is like your marketing team right there, right? It's like, take out Twitter, take out Instagram. What would you have to do to promote yourself, get people following your startup business, for example?
And that's a good point, because I think traditional marketing has changed, right? More and more people, whether it's broadcast television, whether it's radio, they are integrating digital forms of mass media marketing, because it's so much easier to reach a larger group than we could before, versus, print magazines like 10 years ago compared to now. You could post something about your business or a great initiative that you're doing, and you have a stronger reach and a stronger chance of reaching more people. And as you said, there's so many websites that offer artificial appeals as well, but at the same time, I think there's such fabulous things that you can do. Like, there's geo-targeting now. A lot of young millennials and young businesses that I was talking to earlier today were telling me, like, we live on geo-targeting. We don't have that much money right now to spend, but obviously marketing is where we want, like, the major part of our publicity and people to know about it. And they say the only way we can actually do it is through things like Facebook. For $1 or $5, you can guarantee, okay, I'm going to reach 300 people, 600 people, 900 people. So as your business grows, you can invest a little bit more. And back in the day, even to get, your magazine printed and sent to 300 people, an ad in a magazine would still cost you quite a bit of money. So I think it's a really good tweet. So thank you for that. And at the same time, I think it's important to realize that with startups, social media can work for you. And as you said, it can also work against you. Thank you, Cassandra. We're going to check in with you in a little bit. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just about to say. I guess on top of ruining or promoting your business, it could also appeal for you to start a business as well, right? Because the social media makes the world so small, and it feels like everything's at your fingertips. And you hear all these stories about these successes and these fortunes that people make, and it's right at your fingertips again. So you're more appealed, you're more motivated to do these things, because this sort of information, this sort of like lifestyle option is just staring you right in the face. It's like, wow, why aren't I doing that? Stuff, you rarely see those things on newspapers or any sort of like large.
I was literally going to say that. It was on like the next topic that I was going to say, that when we see these glamorized lifestyles, and you can follow your friend on the other side of the world, you can follow celebrities or famous people that are on the Forbes list, and you see their lifestyle, you begin to think, okay, how hard is it for me to achieve it? If they can do it, I can do it. They reached it maybe by 40 or 50. I want to reach this income bracket or this level of, status, or this idea to change the world by this age. And, we begin to think that it's so much easier. Back in the day, how easy was it for you to get to know through the media things happening all the way across the world? There was always a delay. There was a lag in communication. So I think now that we have that, you're really right. It creates sort of this this illusion that, like, it's at my fingertips, so I should be able to achieve it, and I want it now, right? And that's another thing a lot of millennials feel. There's that urgency. They don't want to work the 6 years and get a pay increase of 2-3% like standard companies do every year, and then get promoted as a manager. And they kind of want to do it now. They want this. There's an urgency that we have developed.
It's that mentality of the sort of the internet communication, right? Everything is now. It's just, there is no delay. It's like unless you have terrible internet, but besides the point as well, it's just everything is at your fingertips. Everything is at the disposal of your touchpad and your thing. As long as you have Google, what else is there, you feel like?
And the internet makes everything so perfect. It only shows one image that you based yourself and your entire mindset on. So it's very easy to assume, okay, it's not going to be hard. I can do this. I just need to work a little hard, and I'm going to be great, and successful.
Because most of the time people want to hear about the success stories, and people want to hear about the glossy part, right? So if that's what you see more evidently all over social media, that's what you're going to more likely believe to be true, and you're going to more likely lean towards it, right? We don't normally like to listen to sadness and demise of people and, the tragedies as much as we like to see the successes. So if that's what's being floating around us constantly, then that's what we're going to think is easier to attain. Cassandra, do we have another tweet?
Yes, so I thought this tweet was great, especially for our panelists being all students. So you guys are students. You know, working with a group could either be great or it could be not so great. So this tweet says, from Justin, it says, starting a business with friends you trust or do it solo. What's your opinion on that? Do you think it's better to collaborate with people or put yourself first?
That's such a good question. Thank you, Justin. Cass, what's your take on this?
Ooh, I think it could either be great to collaborate if you have a good group of people, but I always say put yourself first. Always make it your own company. Bring on people on board later, but at the end of the day, always put yourself first.
Okay, guys?
I think the most important part about this is people really get iffy on the whole relationship, where's it gonna go. First off, whenever going into a business or even going to a partnership with friends, you have to establish, okay, this is our
The
friendship
dynamics.
and this is our business. And also don't miss out, okay, this friend has a certain set of skills that I don't have that could prove beneficial
Right.
to this startup. So also acknowledging that and sort of using that to your advantage. in
Being
your startup.
honest,
Exactly.
being real with yourself, right?
Okay.
Not gloating that, okay, I can do it all. If you're going into a partnership, I think, and that's a really good point, you need to go in, especially for viewers that are thinking of, going into startups, because a lot of people tweeted us, that's why we came up with the show concept, this idea of really realizing what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, if you are going to mix with friends. Personally, I always say business and friendships should be separate, just because we've heard so many challenges, because you tend to get really... you tend to kind of think, okay, well, should I do it better? I don't really agree with his view. And, you begin to have those tosses. And as hard as it is, you almost take it home with you. You take it into your friendship. Roxanne?
It's also because it's important to have people you trust.
Right.
Because one person who can easily go against you and gets another company against you, that just because they offer you more money,
Right.
you know?
Hold that thought, Roxanne. On the other side of the break, we will be back and we will be talking a little bit more about some of the challenges of working with your friends. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Richika Bindra, and we were talking about millennials and startup careers. Before we went to break, we were talking with Roxanne about this idea that Justin tweeted to us. Would you do business with your friends? Because at the same time, you don't want to mix that, but at the same time, you want a little bit of trust. So guys, overall, if you each were starting your own business, I'm just curious, would you take a friend or a family member and join them, or would you say, okay, I'm keeping that totally separate?
I've actually tried to start a business with
cool.
a friend. It wasn't so much a friend that was the issue. The friend was perfect, man. We still work together on other stuff. However, not even starting the business, going through startup, trying to get funding for the business, there's a lot of problems with that. Whereas when you want to start a business, you try to be outside of the box, starting your own Uber, starting your own Airbnb, try to new innovative ideas. However, those people that are offering money want to be more secure.
Yes.
So they kind of limit you to the traditional structures of business. Okay, you're gonna sell T-shirts, are you gonna sell food? It's like they don't allow you to go outside the box.
Because at the same time, most of the people, and that's a great point, that have the money, a lot of them are older. So they still have a little bit of that traditional financial mindset.
That safety net.
Right, and as much as they want to get involved with millennials and the youth that's coming, they still want something that's going to secure their return on investment, right? So that's a really good point. So did you dodge your idea, or were you able to succeed?
I just kind of just held off on it until I knew that, because the way the startup funding went, they wanted to sort of facilitate the whole process.
Right.
They want to hover it, which is not how any startup should be. It should be on your own merit, on your own money, and it's how you want to operate it and not having anybody have their hands in it. So yeah, that's on pause right now.
And which is one of the biggest reasons why a lot of startups fail, because a lot of them feel like they started with this idea. They were excited about this idea, they drafted this idea, and now this idea has suddenly become someone else's vision of it. And you get caught up when you're trying to get funding, right? If someone's going to offer you half the funding you need for your project, in that moment, all you see is the signs that, okay, finally my idea can come to life. So to have that courage, so good for you to say, no, I'm going to stick to my idea, and kind of either put it on the back burner, put it on pause, wait for a little bit. I think that's really, really good. I know, Cassandra, you said on the break we got a whole bunch of tweets, so we can't look at them all, but it's great. Please keep tweeting us. We're so happy to see that. Do you want to pick one that's standing out to you right now?
We just heard from Kwaku saying he started his own company, which I think is fantastic. And this question comes in, and it says, question to all the panelists. Do you guys have any startup ideas, and what company would you start?
Okay, Cass, what company would you start? I know you and I would start like a fashion, like beauty, like everything all in one, like touch of our hands and somebody dresses as business.
Oh, I wish.
We should do that.
I think I've always wanted to start a photography account, but I feel as a millennial, my biggest issue is I'm scared it's gonna fail. So I don't have the resources, and I feel like, what do you guys think? Like, what would you guys start?
I actually think one, this is something that it's an idea. I know we're not supposed to give out ideas, but it's a gift. If you want to run with it, right?
So if now someone takes your idea
No, they
on,
can do it.
like,
I have no
regional
time.
TV, you're not getting mad at us.
This is exclusive. This is public domain.
Take this.
So like one cool business idea has like we're always downtown with our friends, or
Yeah.
always like at a tourist attraction, and we're always walking up to somebody like, yo, can you take this photo of me?
Yeah.
Of me and my friends, and it's like awkward, right?
Yeah.
What if we had sort of like an Uber or something, or where we designated people to take those photos for you? So it's like you pay them.
People walking around sort of like
Exactly.
a sign, like picture takers.
Exactly.
So what if someone turns around and says, well, today the sales of selfie sticks are equally as high because of that, right? Because
Nobody
now
likes
you can
selfies,
get that really huge one, which I got for my birthday because I'm obsessed with selfies, and I couldn't use it. I'll tell you that's a failed idea because it wouldn't fit in my little purse. So as a girl, as much as you love pictures, if you get the really big ones because you want to get the whole backdrop and the stick doesn't fit in your purse, it just sits in my room now. So maybe that's a good idea. I would pay someone to do that.
Exactly. Nothing
So you're
more
kind of like
authentic.
you want your own paparazzi.
Exactly, man.
Okay.
We'll set up, selfie sticks are alright, but
You know what? I'm gonna fund that.
Exactly.
I like
Just
that
go for it.
idea.
So run with
Okay.
the idea. Just go with it.
Like somebody's in an apartment above you, and then they're like, I want you to take a picture of us from up there. We're like,
exactly.
all right, I got you. Bam. Look at that aerial
Okay,
shot.
Kwaku, I like this proposal. Draft it, and you and I can sit.
I have no time. Somebody else can do that, bro.
Someone else is gonna take this
Yeah, somebody-
idea,
I
and
wish-
now
I
you
wish
and I
it
are
does.
gonna be sitting 10 years later and be like, damn it, there
I
was
hope
nothing.
that's
mine.
That's gonna be funny.
Guys, what would you do if it was you had your millennial startup choice?
I feel like for me right now, like digital design is a really big thing. It's
Yep.
like a lot of people, it's like Photoshop, InDesign, Cinema 4D, like all these things. Like you can make so many cool pictures and so many cool meshes and models with it, but a lot of people don't have the time. I feel like if I created some sort of a company that allowed me to sort of have requests come in, and with a certain commission price or with a certain amount, we could sort of design that sort of website. We could sort of design that sort of like computer background that you were always looking for, like sort of like an all-around designer for just
Like a custom design.
like a custom
company.
design for just anything electronic.
And you feel like those don't exist enough today?
No, you have like small-time commissioners on like art pages and whatnot, but I want something like official, like really like you could stand up on your own. It's like, I want this digital thing, and you're like, you got it. You're like, I want this asset for this certain video game. It's like, you got it. It's like something very specific that you could sort of all meet to. You could all, from like big companies all the way to like little people who are like, I want this really specific like desktop background. I was like, you know what? We can do that.
Yeah.
Let's give us some time and we'll strike that up for you.
Okay, and Roxanne?
Probably anything like outdoors activities and something like that, because these days everyone, because of all technology
Yeah.
and stuff like that, everyone says inside it don't do anything. So
It
probably
bothers you?
a little bit.
Okay.
But, but like anything outside, being active and do lots of sports and activities.
So you want to
outside.
do a startup that has anything to do with like an outdoor concept?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want like a very wide like choices where you can choose from what you want to do. And
Guys, I'm really sad. None of you said you guys were gonna make my like digital dress me, style me clothing thing. Like that's kind of breaking my heart. I had hopes on you three
My apologies.
after this show. It's okay, Kwaku. Next
never
time,
much
next
easier.
year when you finish your ideas.
Just put it on the back burner.
back burner. All you're doing is
Just
putting
put it on
all
the back-
ideas
put it
on
on the back burner,
Push it
That's all
aside.
he's doing.
It didn't make the cut. It didn't make the cut.
Okay, I'll work harder. Cassandra, do we have another tweet?
Actually, yeah, this is a great one to get the conversation going. So we got one in for DJ from the People, and it says, being a minority, how does that affect the opportunities you can get in entrepreneurship?
Oh.
That's a really good one.
So being a minority in terms of gender, being a minority in terms
think-
of race,
I
being a
think it's
minority.
left pretty open-ended because it just says a minority. So being a minority, how does that affect the opportunities you could get in entrepreneurship? Do you think people would be discriminatory towards you?
Yep. So I think what we'll do is on the other side of the break, we will be joined by Dalton from the Soul Exchange. We will also ask him this tweet, get his insight, and on the same time, ask you guys obviously your view. Cassandra, really quick, do you think it hinders, yes or no?
I think a bit.
Okay.
I think you'd have a bit of trouble, but
In terms of gender or race, like when you think of minority?
I I think both. Unfortunately, there are still people who are like that, but as long as you work towards it, hopefully people aren't as discriminatory as they used to be.
Cool. So guys, continue to tweet us. I really appreciate it. We don't always read all your tweets right away, but we do respond to them. Follow us on Instagram and tweet us. So on the other side of the break, we will be joined with Dalton from the Soul Exchange. See you on the other side, everyone. Welcome back, No Filter viewers. We are joined by Dalton Jackson from the Soul Exchange. Hello.
Hey.
Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me.
This is a topic that a lot of our millennials have actually tweeted to us last season as well. They wanted to know, about a success story, so you were the best person we could find.
Okay.
And then about kind of the process that it really takes, because, as we were talking a little bit before you came on, there are sort of a lot of glossy sort of presentations of what startups are like, and then there are the challenges.
Absolutely.
So I want our viewers to know a little bit about, first of all, what is the Soul Exchange? Your festival has gotten so much of a recognition. All my friends, my best friend is a huge sneaker addict, so she knows all about this. She's closet's worth of it, so that's why she's really excited too, so she's watching. What's the journey been like for you? How did you get into this sort of a business?
Okay, so the Soul Exchange Canada is Canada's ultimate sneaker show. It's pretty much a trade show style event that allows the sneaker community to gather for a day, trade, sell, everything related to the sneaker game.
Very cool.
It was natural for me to kind of get into it. I was always into athletics, and I always loved having different pairs of sneakers. So when the idea came to me from one of my partners, I kind of just looked at it as an awesome challenge and something that was a must because it just fits so well with our lifestyle. So that's how it began, and now we're 2 years in and looking to take it to the next level.
So I think one of the things I take from you is that you need to believe genuinely in the idea if you're going to get into a startup, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think you have to have the passion and the belief that you can take something from here to the moon pretty much. So you got to definitely believe in yourself and have tons of confidence with what you're doing.
And have you guys made this a national thing? Is the goal eventually to go all the way to different mainstream cities in Canada?
Yeah, that's totally our plan. Like we
Perfect.
started just in, our first show was in Vaughan at just like a small nightclub. But we've grown it to where we're trying to do Montreal. Not trying.
It is in Montreal.
We are doing
Yeah.
Montreal. We've got Vancouver at the end of the year.
That's
and
amazing.
for 2017, we're looking to do Winnipeg, Edmonton, and a bunch of other cities. So we're definitely taking it national.
And it's funny because this idea of sneakers wasn't so, when you thought about fashion, maybe I would say even 20 years ago, it was there, but I found it was very kind of underground. Really the true trendy people kind of knew about it, but you would never think like I could wear a really nice pair of kicks and go out for an evening. Like we wouldn't think of it that way. You think of the typical girl in stilettos, guy in dress shoes.
Exactly.
But today, some of the most, take celebrities or trendiest people that I see out at some of the best 5-6-star restaurants are in like these like gorgeous looking shoes, like these sneakers, and I'm like, when did this trend that you would really say that you've noticed has kind of come to life?
It's just like you said, 20, 25 years ago, like the sneaker had always existed, but it wasn't as popularized.
Yeah.
Now it's just more popularized with people like Kanye West, Drake, and Kevin Hart having their names mixed in with the sneaker community. Now it's just like, oh, you want to wear what Kanye's wearing? Well, get yourself a pair of Yeezys. You want what Drake's wearing? So it's popularized now by the media and the hype.
Yeah.
So now it's like, yeah, definitely. You can get married in a pair of sneakers now.
I know.
I see that happening a lot. So.
I have as well on social media.
Finally, my feet can't suffer. My toes don't hurt
like,
anymore.
Kids are like trying to buy these sneakers and they're like gone by the time they're out, and there's lineups, and my cousin was like lining up 6 hours calling me at work, and I'm like, what is it's like it's almost like a new video game that's coming out, or some really big thing.
That aspect is actually what fuels the Soul Exchange. So when you miss your chance to grab it and you didn't get in at that lineup, you can find it at the show. So it gives the opportunity for the sleep in, hit that snooze, sleep in. Don't worry about going out at 5 a.m. Just come to the next Soul Exchange and you can find it there.
Okay, so be careful because now our viewers, we have a lot of sneakerheads, are going to be like, okay, I'm on it. Yep. So when is the next show taking place in Toronto? I know Montreal is coming up. A few people, I'm from Montreal, I know are heading out there. So when is the Toronto one coming?
Our next Toronto event will be in March of 2017. Amazing. So we're kind of just finishing the year on the road, and then we'll relaunch for 2017 starting in March.
Perfect. Cassandra, I know on the other side of the break you had a really good tweet. I kind of want to ask Dalton his view on it. So if you would be able to reread it for us, that would be great.
Okay, sure. So now that we have Dalton joining us on the panel, if anyone has any questions or comments to him, make sure you tweet it to @NoFilterRogers, and he can answer the questions. So on the other side of the break, we had asked, being a minority, how does that affect the opportunities you get in entrepreneurship?
Wow.
So it could be minority in terms of gender. It could be, minority in terms of race. What would you, I guess somebody who's a little bit more experienced in this business versus our startup viewers, would you say that it can hinder or not necessarily?
I honestly, I will say not necessarily in my experience, where, when you really set out to do something, you kind of find your path to get there. Of course, there'll be obstacles, but I mean, you know what your end goal is, and like you have to find a way to make it happen.
Right.
Like if you let the obstacles or the people that have that negative energy kind of stop you, then yeah, you'll find tons of obstacles and tons of things that make you feel like quitting and staying in bed. But you just got to know what you're doing it for, and you kind of have that vision of where you see it going, and doesn't matter if today this is kind of in your way, you'll kind of shift and go a different way.
Like find your path,
yeah,
basically.
So to me, it's like just find your way around all that. There will be tons of obstacles and tons of challenges, but at the end of the day, as long as you know what you're in it for, you'll keep striving.
That's great. Cassandra, do you want to take a shot at the question as well, or are you happy with Dalton's reply?
I think he nailed it.
Yep, absolutely.
Completely.
So keep tweeting us if you'd like. As Cassandra said, Dalton is here, so if you want to ask him any specific questions, feel free to do so as well. And of course, to our amazing panelists. On the other side of the break, I want to ask Dalton some of the tough questions as to what were his biggest struggles. At what point did he sit down and say, okay, this is getting really successful and I'm happy? So join us on the other side of #NoFilter. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hello, welcome back. We are talking with Dalton Jackson from the Soul Exchange. Thank you so much once again for being on.
Thank you.
So, sneakerhead lovers, my question for you being a sneakerhead, can I call you a sneakerhead?
Yeah,
Would that be
of course.
appropriate? Okay.
That's cool with
How
me.
many sneakers, A, do you own?
Okay.
And B, what is the most expensive pair of sneakers you have come across in your journey?
Okay, my collection is still growing. I'm probably about 100 pairs.
No, that's pretty good.
Yeah. To some will say good, some will be like, oh, you're a baby.
It all depends. It's relative.
Exactly. And the most expensive pair is, I mean, there are so many like super expensive, exclusive pairs, but the one that I usually see at the show is the Yeezy Red October.
Yeah.
So that pair usually is like 5,000 to 6,000.
Oh my God.
It's one of the Kanye West designs with Nike, and yeah.
And you're
it's-
telling me people like
yeah,
spend 5-6
people go nuts for it because it's such a rare pair. Like one of the guys that's usually a vendor at the show, the House of Hua, he just went to New York to pick up a couple pairs of Yeezys and OVO, like exclusives that when he actually arrives back, they'll harass him until
he sells it to them.
yeah, and it'll be for thousands of dollars. So.
That is crazy. So you could get a really expensive stiletto, or now you could get a really nice kick. And I'll take that because it's comfier.
It's the equivalent to like the red bottoms.
Yeah, the
and
Louboutins and the-
exactly.
Okay.
So
If it's a white shirt made by Kanye West, I'll pay $70 for it. That's the exact same mentality. Right
it's
there.
gilded, but it's not gilded.
Oh yeah,
No,
I ended up paying a hoodie. Like I bought the Kanye hoodie. It was like $135. I checked the bag, said gilded. I was like,
Yeah,
final seal.
just rolled on it.
What were your struggles when you went into this? So let's say you came up with this idea. I know your partner helped you.
Yeah.
Were you like, okay, I'm gonna go with it? What was your first step? Like, were you like, okay, funding wise, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna get my trust from vendors? What would you say was some of the biggest challenges?
I think for us, the biggest challenges were, like you said, getting the trust from the vendors and building that relationship with the sneaker community. Like everyone is connected in the sneaker world. So it's like once you develop a negative relationship or a rapport with someone, it spreads like wildfire.
Yeah.
So it was very important at first to kind of like show people that, we're not trying to just do this for money or, obviously you're doing a business, you're thinking you want it to be profitable and you want to be successful, but a big part of it was connecting with the people.
Right.
And then, kind of slowly building the relationship, and as you build the relationship with the people, of course, you'll see that they're willing to spend with you and take chances with you. Like we have vendors coming from Toronto to Montreal, taking the trip with us because they're confident in what we do now, and we've built up that trust, so they're willing to take.
So
that
was
chance.
the 2 years because this is its second year, right? So was
Yeah.
the first year, were you a little bit nervous yourself, kind of going into it, or you were like, nope, I believe in this. That's it.
I mean, I'm kind of a shark on land where I'm not intimidated. I'm not nervous. I kind of I know what the challenge is, and I'll go nonstop. So for the first show was kind of crazy. Like I did it like a Kijiji, or my guys would just send me random, like a list of 200 sneakerheads, and I would just kind of grab my cell phone, kick back, and call 200 people hey, we're doing something amazing, get on board. And, some were into it and some weren't, but that's how we did it. We just went hardcore at, nothing can stop us. If you're out there, I'm going to find you. I'm going to get you to the show. And that's
And you
the
know
end of
what
it.
I like about this, hearing your story, is that a lot of millennials and startup businesses are trying to market in a very glamorized way, and they're trying to go much larger than it is.
Yeah.
And what I like is that there's a very grassroots approach to
Absolutely.
it, which is kind of like when original businesses were more authentic, 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
They would start grassroots up. Of course, eventually everyone's going to get big and
definitely
hit, but I
started
love that
at
idea.
We'll take it from Drake. We started at the
Started at the bottom?
Yeah,
Okay.
we printed 5,000 flyers. I would go down by Woodbine Beach. I would be down wherever. If there was an event going on, you could find me there connecting with the people, handing out some sort of brochure or something to bring them back to connect them back with us. So we definitely just started at the bottom, and we used the people as the fuel. As
Right.
long as we were able to connect with people, we knew we would be able to, continuously
And I guess
grow.
in this millennial business as well, what's good about it is that, as you said, the sneaker community is still small. So if
Yeah.
you can really build their trust and connect sometimes
Exactly.
your marketing doesn't necessarily need to be over the top, because it's all word of mouth, right? Like if I'm a
Exactly.
sneakerhead, I'm gonna go tell my other person, and you kind of communicate
That's
it.
totally what it is.
Yeah.
A big part of it is just the word of mouth. We have his attention, he'll spread the word to his
Yep.
friend, and he'll spread the word to the next guy, and it'll just go on and on. Because it's a positive thing. we've heard of stories where kids have gotten into fights trying to buy a pair of sneakers, or
Oh my
even,
God.
there have been incidents where
Yeah.
kids have been killed trying to buy sneakers. So we're providing an outlet where, you can go crazy for a full day and you know that you're safe and you're in a positive environment. So that.
So is it all day, Dalton, that you can attend the one? So for example, like the Montreal one or the Toronto one in March, would it be a weekend thing or it's just one day exclusively?
We've done a 2-day event in the past, but usually we go with the 1 day, which is usually the Saturday, and it's usually 6 to 7 hours of open to the public.
And so you can swap.
Yeah.
So I could go up to a vendor, and if he's really interested in a pair that I've never worn, or even
Absolutely.
if I've worn, we can kind of exchange it.
Yeah, you can have a pair that you've beat into the ground, like you've taken the hammer to it, but it might be a pair that just has that reputation or that hype. It could be a 10-year-old pair with scuffs on it, but someone will still take it.
Okay.
So every pair has a value,
Has a
and
story.
you can go up to someone and trade a 10-year-old pair for a brand new pair, just because the story behind that pair is so much greater.
I
Like
them.
for me and a few of the guys that I'm close with, we love the pairs that Michael Jordan actually played in.
On the other side of the break, I'm going to ask him exactly which pairs he was talking about. Stay tuned, everybody. Welcome back, everybody. On the last part of our segment, we still have quite a few questions I want to ask Dalton because I am so into this whole idea of sneakers. My best friend, as I was telling you on the break, owns 600 pairs. So
Crazy.
she's going to now be at your Montreal thing.
Can I be her friend too?
I mean, I try to borrow pairs from her, and she's like, "No, don't touch that. That's an Air Presto. That's a classic." I'm like, "Okay, too much technical words for me." My question to you is: you were mentioning something about Michael Jordan before the break. Please elaborate.
Yeah, like I was saying before we cut that, the most sought after pairs for me or, some of my friends are the pairs that he actually played in. Like, for example, the flu games from the popular playoff games. Those are just an iconic pair just because of what he did in that pair. And there are several other pairs with great stories behind it, but for myself, I love the ones that I can actually go and find a picture of Jordan playing in that shoe. So
the actual history, I think, of a pair makes it a little bit more appealing.
Exactly.
Right?
Like my favorite pair is the Air Jordan 6. And I love that because that was his breakthrough season where he won the first championship and finally got the monkey off his back. And I love that shoe because of what it allowed Mike to accomplish. Because I'm obsessed with Mike's.
Okay.
Just get it out there.
But no, and how much would a shoe like that go? Let's just say, like, as a sneakerhead, I wanted to grab a pair, and I was able to find it. What are the average prices?
Retail, $250, $280.
So it's pretty good. You could still get a part of a history at a pretty good price.
Yeah, exactly. If Mike actually wore it and took it off and threw it in the crowd, you're looking at maybe 200 G's for a pair, 200K.
Okay.
I could retire on that.
Actually, he gave a pair to someone that worked for the Bulls while he was playing, and he recently sold it on eBay for just over 100K. So
That is crazy.
that's a big
Okay.
Like a sneakerhead will get that
Thrill out of
problem.
it,
Like,
yeah,
If
and
I
be
can
like,
display it in my collection,
That's all I need.
That's a done deal.
Dalton, like in terms of startup and finances, is that something that deteriorates people? Is that something you found that was a little bit of a concern, or you're like, no, I'm going to make it happen regardless?
Well, the one thing we noticed was we started small, so we didn't just go in needing the big capital right away. Like I said, we started in a nightclub where we're now inside a Metro Convention Center or a Vancouver Convention. So I would say you just have to be smart and look at what you're able to do with what you have. Like you don't necessarily always want to bury yourself in debt trying to make things happen. So if you're able to slowly crawl your way out and then, maximize your profits each time, then you can also go at it without necessarily having the big finances.
I think that's a really, really good tip. I think it's something that that a lot of our startup millennials get scared to, and they kind of want to go bigger. And I think you're right. If you really are realistic and practical, you need to start small.
Because like I said, the big thing is you always kind of have that end goal, so you know where you want to get.
Yeah.
And you kind of, you know, you're not going to get there in a day or in a week or in a month. So you map out the best way and you kind of just, you know.
Pick the route, slow and steady, I guess,
exactly.
in this case. Cassandra, I know you have a tweet. What is it?
Okay, so first off, thank you to everyone who's tweeted throughout this show. Your tweets have been amazing. So I have one last one kind of to wrap up the show, and this one's for Dalton. It said, who has the best celebrity sneaker collection?
Okay.
Okay, really good question. Thank you, Randy. So Dalton?
I know who he's
I'm going to ask you. You're all smiling. You'll get your say. This competition is fierce.
I think, like, for me, okay, he has the best videos of his sneaker collection. It's DJ Khaled.
Yep.
Like, when you watch Khaled showcase his collection, that's passion.
Yeah.
Like, he's pulling things out. He's like, this is amazing. That's amazing. So he really, like, if you're not a sneakerhead, go watch a Khaled video and you'll be into sneakers by the end of the video.
Okay, so really quick, what are you wearing? What is Dalton Jackson from the Soul Exchange wearing today? I want to know.
I'm wearing a pair of Gucci's today.
Very
just
nice.
Something I got from my partner. Not
Very
a
cool.
gift. I paid him.
A large sum of dollar signs.
He gave me a bit of a deal, but still a bit
Okay,
chunky.
Kwaku, I know you're dying.
Sort
What's
of
your
transition.
favorite?
See, the key word was not a gift. I paid for it.
Yeah.
Which is okay. You said DJ Khaled has the best collection, true, but I don't know much about him. But I see like a lot of him getting these gifts as shoes, and I feel like to have the best collection, the history of actually searching and dropping money for the
Is it
shoes,
different?
not being hunting.
Oh
that's
no!
where the
Like
best collection
the
comes
thing
from,
is,
yeah.
Khaled does get. I mean, every celebrity you get to that point. Nike's sending you some stuff. Jordan himself is sending you a couple pairs. But the thing is with Khaled, he actually is one of the biggest. He hunts.
Buyers and
He
hunts.
hunts
Yep.
for pairs. Like he'll tell you, I've been looking for this pair for 5 years. I got it. This is dopeness, and he really dives into it. So
All right.
For like one pair.
I mean,
Thank you so much, Dalton. I know this is such an amazing conversation that we're going to have a hard time ending, but we are running out of time. So thank you so much, everybody. Do watch us next week. Do check out the Soul Exchange. You can go on their website, on social media. It's on our screen right now. And thank you so much, Dalton.
Thank you
I am
for
now
having
in
me.
a sneaker mood and a taste. So I will see you next week on #NoFilter at 8 p.m.
awesome.
Thank you so much.